Guys, I really wanted to like this movie. I did. It's a piece of cinema history. Academy Award for Best Director, 1967. I don't get what the hype is, if I'm being honest. Lauren and I, we watched The Graduate this week for Film Friday, and I was disappointed, if I'm totally real. So this is not going to be a good one. Join us. Welcome to Film Friday, a post-cinematic analysis show where we meet every other Friday to discuss a couple of my favorites and a few fixes. This week, we took a look at the classic movie, The Graduate, starring Dustin Hoffman. Guys, I wasn't impressed. I have to admit, I think this film's a little bit overrated, if I'm being completely honest. I felt like as we were watching a beautiful art film with a very mediocre plot that took a weird turn at the end. I couldn't tell, were we watching a drama? Were we watching a comedy? Were we watching a horror film? Oh my gosh, where do I begin? So we'll start with a couple of my favorites. I think the stylistic components of this movie are the only redeeming qualities, if I'm just being blunt. So favorite number one is I loved some of the cool transition shots. I thought we had there's a sequence where he goes from, he's like laying on a pool mat to laying in the bed with Mrs. Robinson to he's got his head against the bed rest, and then it's the same texture as he cuts to his bedroom, and that's the same texture. There's like 10 smooth transitions in a row where it seems like one unified sequence. That was incredible. I wish I had the ability to do that, maybe one day. The only other favorite I can think of, so favorite number two, is I think for someone in their post-college age, 20s to 30s, there's something that resonates with the pressure of what now? What do I do? Now that I've left school, I've been in school since I was 4 or 5 years old, and I've had a clear roadmap until this point, and now I'm lost. And I think that resonates with a lot of folks that are in their 20s and 30s, they feel visionless and aimless. So, though that's a bit of a bummer, I did enjoy that seemed to resonate with the audience. Now for a couple fixes. So, number one fix is, this is PG. Are you kidding me? And I'm not someone who, it has to be PG or PG-13 or whatever. I don't care about that. But this is clearly a 1967 PG. I mean, there's intensely adult content. The entire premise is him having an affair with a married woman, and if he should do that or not. Like, there's nudity, and then there's this unintentional stalker component that I thought was particularly creepy in the back half of the movie, where Ben goes to Berkeley and he pursues Elaine. They had one date. Are you kidding me? So, and if you're sitting around with the family and you're thinking, oh, my 10-year-old would enjoy this movie, you'd be incorrect. The second fix I have is, hands down, is Elaine, you are a Dumbo. My wife was shaking her head the whole time. You have one date with this guy who comes off as a total jerk, and then he tells you why. And then you find out that he's had an affair with your mom. Like, why would you not call the police the minute he showed up at Berkeley? I'm disappointed in you, Elaine. I think a lot of people in today's age would be really disappointed in you. I mean, Dustin Hoffman's a catch, but Ben's not a catch at all. So if you want to watch a risque coming-of-age story, fast forward about almost 20 years later and watch Risky Business instead with Tom Cruise. I think, now warning, that's an adult movie, and it's properly rated R as it should be. So I think my biggest gripe with The Graduate is, I wish I had seen it when it first came out. Obviously I wasn't alive then, but I feel like I would have appreciated it a lot more if I saw it in my 20s, in the 60s. But other than some incredible cinematography, we were left with a mediocre plot. The back half of the movie takes an absurd turn. I particularly like when Dustin Hoffman's character, Ben, runs into the church. He steals Elaine back from as she's getting married. And then they have a brawl to get out of the church, and he takes a giant golden cross and bars the doors of the church. I thought any moment he's going to burn this church down and it's going to be awful. So anyway, wasn't a fan. If you're a peer, you probably haven't seen The Graduate. I previously would have thought like, oh, you've got to see The Graduate. I don't think so. I think it's skippable. I think there's other movies of that time period that are probably way more worth your watch. So those are some of my favorites and some of my fixes. Please leave in the comments below. I'd love to know, one, if you've actually seen The Graduate. Two, what you thought about it. Tell me, give me some feedback. I want to know if I'm not the only one who thought this, piece of cinema history was forgettable. So anyway, we're a bi-monthly show. We're going to meet every other Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.